We can face all these problems, and I thought, you Lord, how do we handle these different problems? Should I get up and preach about all these different problems that I read about here and how you need to stay away from that? And Jesus says, nope. In my heart, you've said it. I hope I'm telling you wrong. I'm not bringing up any of these problems for us in here, or to tell people quit doing that. I've often said that people maybe have a bad habit, even a drug habit or something. Say, you got to stop those drugs. And so they stop them. And then they burn in everlasting hell. What good did I do them? We're all going to die anyway. So you get somebody from stopping something you don't think they should. Well, ain't you special? You think somebody shouldn't stop and do something. What's that got to do with anything?
Right.
The message is lead them to Jesus. And He will take care of them.
It's true.
See, the difference between, you can always tell what's godly and what's true is our attitude about it. Now, back in those times when a lot of our situations we're going to read about, and I'm just about done, Nero was in charge. And he lived a very wicked life. I mean, he did 50 times worse than anything you can think about is going on in this day and age. He was the emperor of Rome, and you know, we heard of Nero fiddled while Rome burned, that kind of thing. And you know, he was so full of diseases and all this stuff went on from his very bad lifestyle. But you know what his big job was? His big goal was to kill every Christian on the planet. And he would actually take entire Christian families that professed Christ, and he would wrap them up in tar and stuff and use them in their gardens and light them for their big orgies and parties, burning Christians. Why would you want to do that? Was he right? No, that don't sound right, does it? Because nobody wants to be told wrong if it pricks their own conscience. That's what makes them mad. If somebody says, you're just a dirty, rotten Christian to me, I just kind of smile. I don't want to kill them. Do you get the difference?
Yep.
Because we know in our heart what is right and wrong. And that's I'm not for cutting any group of people down. I don't run anybody down. I don't care who it is or what it is. That is not your job. Jesus walked this earth and He treated everybody with kindness. And He's the only one that actually knew everybody's heart. If anybody could run anybody down, Jesus could. He knew their every sin He ever made. He never said a bad word about it. Because that is not the message of Jesus Christ. That is not a Christian message. The Christian message is we are all born in sin. We can't help it. That's the way we were born in a sinful world, and we at one point in our life we have to come to Jesus. That paid that beautiful price on that cross 2,000 plus years ago. And say, Jesus, we ask you to forgive us of our sins. We're born sinners. We ask you to forgive us and make us a part of your family. And you will know it when that happens. There will be no doubt or question in your mind. You'll feel that burden and that relief of all those forgiven sins off you and throw it away. And you will be a new creature in Christ. And from then on out, you won't want to kill anybody anymore. At times. Seriously, folks. We're coming to an age, and I want you to listen to this real quick. This is important. I'm making a little light of it, but it's very, very serious. We have an age now where everybody's madder than usual, and there's people that's just furious now. And I know every once in a while I've caught me with a fury myself down there. Rose has to calm me down. So wait, because something really made me mad. I believe there's an evil spirit. I talked to my brother the other day. He said, Tim, I hate to say this, but I think that man that shot all those kids in that school was demon possessed. And I said, yeah. And there's danger about that. Every one of us human beings are susceptible to Satan entering us and doing things we wish we wouldn't have done. Tell me it hasn't happened to you. Maybe not as bad. But it can get that bad, because everywhere there's not God, there's Satan. If God is not in your heart, Satan can get there. And he can take control. I've arrested many people that I'm talking about. What made you do that? I don't know. They didn't really know. They wasn't kidding. We're all susceptible to that. It's important that we keep God in our hearts. It's an age where things pour out, and it's the little things that starts. A little bit of anger. Now I'm going to tell you this now. Unresolved anger turns into hatred. And that is a cancer. It'll kill you and everybody around you. And if you don't let that sucker go, and if you don't ask Jesus to get that out of your heart, I don't care if they did do you wrong. I carried some around for a long time back from my previous jobs years ago. And, that kind of law enforcement job can really get a lot of politics going on there. Man, I carried that around for a long time. I've had a whiff of that again not long ago, but it's horrible. And it's horrible and it grows. You have to resolve that anger, and you have to forgive that person or ask for forgiveness and then forget it. Because if you leave it in there, it'll rot. And I bet you I can talk to everyone in this church one time or another that hadn't had something negative, very negative happen in their past, that they can tell you from word to word detail of what happened. At least what they think happened. Because after the years go by, it gets bigger. Right. And then you pass that message down to the next generation. I had people talking about my great-grandma Rachel. And I didn't care much for her at all. Just because the way she was a loose woman. She lived there in Pittsburgh, and the McKnights was a pretty big name there in that area, and you can still look up some of the stuff there. But she was a loose woman, and she had kids out of wedlock back when that was not happening. And she kept her own name, that loose woman. What was the matter with her? I wouldn't have been here without her. Regardless of what her behavior was. It doesn't matter about the past. You understand what I'm saying? We shouldn't carry grudges or hold anything against anybody, because it doesn't have to be the end of your life when somebody messes you up. Now, I don't know if, I'm not saying anything about, again, politics, I'm not. But I remember George H. Bush was a World War II pilot and was shot down in the ocean. And he was in there for a couple of days, if I'm not mistaken. If it was at least 2 days, he was out there floating in the ocean. Didn't know if anybody's going to come or not. That'd be a little bit of a discouraging moment in my life. He didn't get out of that ocean and says, I'm never taking a bath again. Because he's just done with water. He decided it happened to him and he survived it. And he built off of his experience. Didn't run it down. You never heard him whine about it once. Did you know that? I never heard him once whine about that. Now, I whine about that. I whine about the little experience happened to me, and I floated out in the ocean one time. Scared me to death. I still whine about that. That's before the Jaws movies and stuff come out when I was a kid. Parents used to take us to the beach, and beautiful day, sunny day out there in Fort Myers, and nobody around for miles like that. It's not like that now. Last time I went down, I said, my goodness, what has happened at home? But I was on one of those rubber rafts. It was such a beautiful, nice day out there floating. And one you could look in the ocean terminal, and I just kind of fell asleep. And everybody forgot about old Tim. And I don't know what woke me up, but I woke up, I couldn't see nothing but water, and I'm on this little raft. And I know there were some big fishes out there. I caught some. And I could just barely see the shoreline. That was a scary moment. I haven't been out in the water since. Well, I have some, but not the ocean. It scared me to death. I should build on that experience, but I'm not. But whatever it is, I don't hate the ocean for it. And I don't hate people who get the ocean for it. What happens when you spread hatred? But you keep a story alive, you keep it getting bigger and bigger. It kills more people and more people and more people. And if there can't be anything done about it, build off that experience. Help somebody else that's going through that experience. One of the things that I've had problems with, oh man, it's going away. I'm so sorry. I'll finish this off quickly, I promise. One of the things I've had all my life is a problem, and Rose can tell you this too, it's absolutely true. Even when I was a little kid, and then when we got married, the same thing. I don't care where I go, I've talked about it before, I'll sit down in the wrong spot. Or somebody direct me to the wrong area, and somebody says, what are you doing here? And boys, it embarrass a living fire out. It does every time, and I try to be so careful. I don't even like to go to these public events. I get invited downtown to them all the time. I don't want to go, want no part of it, because I'm going to embarrass myself. And it's just one of the things I do. And people are quick to tell you when you're stupid too. Don't you? Thank you. I didn't know I was done. Here in this town, I got invited to Northern Prayer Breakfast, and I like the mayor real well, and we have a good relationship. And he said, I want you to come. Congressman Pinch is speaking down here. We're going to have a prayer breakfast. And Congressman Pinch is a real good Christian guy. We're very lucky to have him the governor. But I went down and told Rose, I want to go to this. It's not going to work out. And she said, oh, it'll be fine, or something. She's always encouraging me. I love her for her encouragement. And I went, and of course we went and I said, let's just find a seat and sit down quick. And the place was packed. There was only like 2 seats left. And we just went to them real quick, because I was invited and I had a place to sit. And I sat down, and the other people at the table looked at me, and I was sitting in Congressman Pence's spot. Now our governor's spot. Excuse me. I want to tell you, he was very nice about it. He got my vote. I didn't know he was going to run. But the fact is, it happens to me. But because that happens to me, I am so sensitive to everybody else's comfort. I can't help it. Rose will tell you, if I see somebody in a little bit of an uncomfortable boat, I'll go out of my way to try to somehow get them through that. And I never realized that was important. But my problem was their blessing, and I didn't know it. Frank, when he come here, just a wonderful guy. We love Frank. He come here, and this is the first time I understood what was happening. He come here, and he brought some of his relation. He was Mexican. And he had some people who couldn't speak Spanish come in the back with a couple ladies and stuff, and he was his friend. And we all loved Frank and his family. He come in, and I could see one was there just kind of nervous and fidgeting, and I knew I was never very good at other languages. Rose says I can't speak English very well. I know. But I seen she was uncomfortable, and everybody's probably didn't know what to say or anything, and I went over and tried to help her, and I asked if she'd like some coffee. And she nodded, she did, so I went and got her coffee. Never thought anything about it. And I guess when it got back to Kokomo, she was just telling all of her friends, and Frank said, and the priest come up and served me. Well, never been called a priest before, but it was special to her just because I showed a little kindness. And I showed a little kindness because I know how it is to feel uncomfortable. You see what I'm trying to say here? If you've got a spot in your life that's a bother to you, make that your ministry. Yes. And it's a blessing to other people.